Welcome back to Miles Around. It's time for our second in the driver's seat, and we're taking a look at this, the 2007 Jaguar XK. Now, this was designed by Ian Cullum. We got to meet him earlier, and we'll get to talk to him a little later on in the show. But Dennis, tell us a little more about the car.
Well, first off, I got to give you credit, Nick. You actually say it right. It's Jaguar. And for those of you that don't know, it is a three-syllable word. And I guess that's the advantage of working with a Brit. Now, this particular car is by far the total extension of Ian Cullum's design capabilities. He actually designed the car by looking down at it and what is considered to be designed from the roof down. It has an aluminum body and aluminum skin that lightens up the car tremendously. Now, we'll take a look at the inside. I'll look at all of the technology, but for now, let's take a peek under this nice aluminum hood.
Once you look underneath the aluminium bonnet, you'll find an aluminium engine, and my best friend Ian Cullum tells me it's definitely big enough to power his XK.
Really getting sick of hearing about you and Ian Cullum being best friends. I'm best friends with this engine, 300 horsepower and 303 pounds-feet of torque, driving through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, it does have independent suspension front and rear, and it does have, of course, anti-roll bars front and back and big brakes both front and back. But more importantly, I want to talk about the exhaust for a second. It has an adjustable baffle, or what it does is this. At idle, sitting in the driveway, nice and quiet, little bit of a V8 rumble. About 4,500 RPMs, the exhaust opens up and gives what Jaguar calls a full V8 stereophonic sound. Now, when driving this car, yeah, it's not the most powerful little convertible in the world, and it doesn't have the best 0 to 60 times, about 5.9 0 to 60. No slouch, but not the top of its class. What this car is about that grand touring style with the top down. It's really a grand touring car, epitomized in everything that Jag can do. It's big, it's powerful, it's stylish, but for now, we're just gonna have to call it the perfect XK. Well, now that we're going to talk about the exterior style, we're going to flip things around a little bit. I'm tired of listening to my little friend over here talk about how great his relationship is with Ian Cullum, and since he spent time with him talking about all the styling cues on this car, why don't you go ahead and talk about the exterior?
Well, of course, Ian Cullum is a master of design. He first became notable for designing the Aston Martin DB7. He designed the 8 and the 9, and of course then went on to being head of design for Jaguar. Now, some things they've changed on this vehicle. The signal light has changed from this side to this side in the 06 to 07 model, and also the car has actually got a very wide stance now. It's got wider in the last year, and it's almost like a cat ready to pounce. In fact, Ian told me that his secret of design, or his one specific thing that he did with this car, is look at it from the top down, and that's how he drew what he called a footprint of how this car would be, and it does kind of look like a pouncing tiger, as it were. Really nice sort of shape to the hood and down the sides, but nothing too outstanding in this car, right?
Well, I have to agree with him, except for the part that being friends with Ian Cullum, he only met him once, folks. But yeah, it is probably the best looking car ever to wear the Jaguar badge. I mean, it's something that really does harken back to the original idea behind the cars. They were small, nimble, grand touring cars, and I think this thing does it absolutely perfectly.
Now, since we're switching things up this week, why don't you try getting in the back of this vehicle and I'll get in the front. Go ahead. Hop in.
Hold on. Let me. Let's see. I think you gotta kind of get your legs. Let me see if I can kind of.
There you go.
Okay.
As you can see, as the driver, I've got plenty of room up here in the front, and it's quite comfortable, low on the ground, and all the controls are easily accessible. How is it in the back?
It's a bit cramped.
It's a little cramped, and I'll tell you why. A lot of these vehicles actually only have a back seat for insurance reasons. Here at the front, I can get to my navigation screen, I can get to my shifter, in fact, I can get to almost everything. Can you get to anything in the back?
I can shine my shoes from here.
You know something, I need to get out. This is just pure wrong. Let's look at the dash and see what's going on the console.
Does anybody have the number to a good chiropractor? Well, this is a little more like it. You're supposed to be in the front seat if you're my height. Now, there's a couple things I want to mention about the interior. One is that flash system when it comes to the navigation. Absolutely top notch, and if any other car manufacturers are listening, you should be doing it like that. The other is the safety protection system, which is built into a convertible like this. It has actual roll bars that deploy with a charge if the car is too much of an angle, or if you get in a car accident, or if the car is potentially going to roll. Something that most modern convertibles have, but it should be noted that this has one of the most modern systems in the market. Now, the driving position is great. As you can notice, even from my height, once the seat has been moved back, that I do have a nice command of the road. The view is good. All the controls fall easily at hand. And, you know, to tell you the truth, it just makes you feel good sitting in a car like this.
So we've looked all around the outside and the inside of the Jaguar XK, and Dennis, give me your two ups for this vehicle.
Well, the first one might be obvious to some, and I know it's certainly obvious to me. This is the best Jaguar they've ever built. The mechanics, the technology on the inside, the looks. Yes, Ian Cullum designed it. It brings it all together. It is by far the best car they've ever built. The other up for me is the fact that it's accessible. Yes, 85 grand is a lot of money, but let's look at the other cars that have the same styling cues. A DB9. You could get two of these for the price of one Aston Martin.
Now, what's your down on the vehicle?
Well, I think we did that 2 segments ago. I don't think that the back seat's good for anything, but maybe even small children I don't think would fit. For me, the back seat's got to be the big downside.
Let me tell you my two ups for this vehicle. First of all, Ian Cullum designed it, and as you know, a friend of mine designing a car like this is absolutely great. My second up for the vehicle, very seriously, is the fact that at speed, the steering of this vehicle is probably the lightest steering I've ever tried in any sports car. And when you're going 85 miles an hour, it feels like you're doing 30 miles an hour when you're on a corner. My down in this particular vehicle is I don't own one, and being friends with the designer, I can't understand that.
The 2007 Jaguar XK Convertible comes standard with a 4.2-liter dual overhead cam V8 with 300 horsepower and a standard 6-speed automatic transmission. Its base price is $80,835 with an as-tested price of $84,800. Its city miles per gallon EPA rating is 18, and its highway miles per gallon EPA rating is 27.
Here are the guys that make miles around possible. The Russ Auto Group, Baxter Auto Parts, Northside Ford, Ray Reese Dealerships, 4-Wheel Parts Performance Center, Grand Prix Imports, and J. Lee's Auto Group. Thanks, guys.